So this is how the car originally came, with just the car and the remote. And the car at this point was still battery powered, so you had to put batteries in. And then after that, the next slide will show like all the wiring on the inside. So here you can see the red and white wires are for the lights in the front of the car. The blue and the white in the top are for the turning mechanism to turn the front wheels, and then the green and the yellow they're for the actual front and forward back motion. And then there's that copper tape thing you see, and that's just the antenna for connecting to the remote. And then there's the green circuit board, of course. So the ones that we can take off are the blue and the white and the red, and the copper tape, because all of those can be either replaced or made smaller. The blue and the white we don't need at all. We can just cut those off, and then the red and the white we can also just cut off. Then there's another set of wires, the black and the red, and you can't really see them, but basically they go into the black box in the middle. Those are for the batteries, and essentially we're gonna cut that off and then connect it to our power supply so that it can be supplied all the time and we don't need to change the batteries. So this is the first test that I did, and basically this is just showing that even with the power supply, the rest of the stuff works. And as of now, I haven't cut off the extra stuff like the. So in this one, I actually cut off all the lights and motors, and the blue and the white are soldered together, and the white and the red are soldered together. But you can actually just cut those off directly. Okay, so this is with the new motor in, and we went back to the old string method, and I have a piece of poster board here just so that when I hot glue everything to the wall, it doesn't rip it out, and it instead it just rips the poster board. But this is the final prototype working version. See, all the other wires are clipped. The only wires I have is power, motor, and the antenna. And I think one of the power wires just fell out. See, in here, I still haven't soldered it together because it's just prototyping. So they sometimes fall out of the connector thing. But I think this should work. So ready, set, and so yeah, that turned off the lights. And then if I go all the way over here and then turn off the lights. I actually didn't expect it to work from that far because the antenna. Oh yeah, that's another wire that I left on. The antenna wire. At the end of it, it was connected to like a piece of copper tape that was on the top of the car, and it was like a pretty large piece of copper tape. And I was just gonna plan on instead of using copper tape, I was just gonna put on like a regular old antenna from one of the other remote control cars I took apart. But in the end, I took everything off, like the copper tape and the old antenna, and it still works like fine. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. And then maybe there might be problems when I put it into the wall. And for my wall mounting, I'm just gonna use one of these regular boxes, and it goes in, and then as you tighten the screw, this piece slides up and then locks behind the drywall so you can't pull it out. And then the front plate that I'm using is just a regular brush plate so that the wires can come in and out. Probably what I'm going to do is just this black wire will go in, the power wire will go into the plate, and then the only thing coming out will be the string so it can grab it. And then also right now, one of the other problems right now that's like gonna be finalized is that this string is like really long, and it sometimes gets jammed, and like it's too loose, so it can't pull down always, and it gets jammed like in this part of the motor over here. But for the main system, for the string, I just have a hole in the light switch and then like 3 knots over here, just regular knots. And then here I just did a hole through the cork, and then 2 knots on this one. And then here for this motor, this is like a really old motor from like a submarine or something I had that I made. And
this piece over here is it like locks onto the cork because it has like little pins coming out, and it just locks into the cork so that it moves the whole axle. This motor is actually like really rusted, but it still works. And then I have this whole circuit running at 9 volts, and then but the only reason it works at 9 volts is because you have to cut off everything. And actually originally this blue and white was for another motor, and I took off the other motor, and because I thought that it needed to be like still a complete circuit, what I did was I soldered the blue and the white together. But the problem there was that because they were soldered together and there's no resistor between them, it would like burn the back of the circuit out. And the way I tested like how many volts I can give the entire circuit was like so you just plug it in, and then like on the power thing, on the power brick, you can like change how many volts you have. So I started like really low at 4.5, and then I went to like 6 and stuff, and then I just like put my hand on the back of the circuit testing if it was getting hot or like I saw smoke or something. And then if I did, I stopped. And then like when I finally figured out that it was like these two connections, like the lights connection, there's like on the back of the circuit there's actually like 2 wires coming off for lights. The same thing there, I had them soldered together and there was no resistor between them, so it was just burning out the circuit. And then when I realized that like it's coming from here and it wasn't from the other solder joints, I got really confused because like that was supposed to be the part that wasn't gonna burn up. So then I just cut it. I cut them both off, and then I tried it, and then it worked. So, and then I did a little more research on the internet to like why it worked, and then I asked my grandpa, and then he said it's because like there's no resistor between those 2 wires when you had them soldered together. And then also in this, there's like there's no way to turn the light on, so you just have to flick it on whenever you like get up from the bed, which isn't really a problem. Otherwise, yeah. And then when I'll make like another little segment when I finally put in the wall. It's probably gonna go somewhere around like here. And then I'll remove like all this, and then I'll make it look nice by painting it over again. Okay, so this is a new way that I've attached it. So you can see that there's a piece of plexiglass here, and it's kind of just hanging on, it's like glued in on the pins over there. They're just like regular push pins. So it sits on that, and then there's nails going outside. I'll probably cover this up. I'll make them flush with the wall and then cover it up. But right now, this is the way that probably the motor is going to be mounted. So I'm going to just leave the motor on here, on this plate, and then glue it down on it so that it can't move while spinning, because I think that's what stopped it from spinning all the way last time. Yeah, so hopefully this should fix it. I don't know. This version is slightly better. You have the plate right there. You can barely see it. But then you have the plate here. It's held up by the push pins. Then you have the motor. It's Gorilla Glued in. And it's here, I guess. Like, there's not really much to explain there. And then the string is pretty tight. Right now I don't have the plate on. It's all the way down there. I'm gonna put that on once like I'm all ready with this. But basically this version is working. If I have the controller here, and then just move it up, it turns the light off. But the down function on the remote isn't working for some reason. The remote's lighting up, so I know it recognizes that it wants to go down. I just think that there's something on the circuit messed up, but it doesn't really matter because you only need to go one direction in the actual pulling of the switch, so just keep going. But yeah. Okay, so I'll put the plate on and then I'll see if it still works. Like last time, it worked right up until I put the plate on, so yeah. Okay, so everything's in place right now. These nails are indented in. There's this plate here, and it's holding everything inside there. The circuit is kind of just hanging in there. I didn't really put that on anything, like I didn't mount it on anything, but the motor is mounted on the other plate. So here, if I flip the switch back up, here's this switch, and it flips it down. So as soon as I flip it back down, or back up, it unravels the string enough so that even though the down function on the remote and the circuit doesn't exactly work, it doesn't really matter that much, because when you flip it back up, it unravels the rope enough that the next time you flip it, it works.